Let's get into the power rankings. So, I got this thing called the Novel 5 where I talk about the hottest TV shows out. When you hear power rankings, I'm talking about the hottest movies out. Some good movies out. But at the same time, I think that it's going to get a little stronger. I think that this year is going to finish out a little stronger. But I was really disappointed in May. Kind of disappointed at the beginning of June. But late June and early July, Hollywood really picked up. So let's talk about them. Let's talk about the power rankings, where we rank the Power 5 movies. Number 5 is Midsommar. Midsommar is directed by Ari Aster, the very controversial director who has a style of his own. I only put this here because of the timing, honestly. I put this here because I really am a fan of Ari Aster. Now, this thing made $4 million, right? It made $4 million. It could pick up. Mine picked up really slow. Maybe the same thing that happened for Midsommar. Don't see it happening. But I put this on here because this is a really good movie. I don't know how it's going to really age over time. Movies like this, but they get way more popular over time. Now, Hereditary didn't make that much money either. But it didn't do this bad. Jesus Christ, it didn't do this bad. One of those problems with star power, it wasn't any good draws in this movie, but I like that. I think that Hollywood should be trying to create more stars way more often than they do. But we go for the short bet. We go with what's familiar. So with that being said, Hollywood isn't going to take any chances with these shits. So they don't do this. They don't do where they come up with, these new actors. The lead actor in here was a fucking YouTube singer, so it really hurt him. But Midsommar is a very controversial movie. If you see Midsommar, go to YouTube and put in Midsommar, and some of those movies, not some of the reviews, but some of the videos will be explaining some of the folklore and some of the mythology and some of the religion that influences Ari Aster and influences him to put these type of things in his movies. Because if you don't understand it, you're gonna hate Midsommar, and it's gonna be the worst movie ever. But if you're savvy enough to do the work, this could be a treat. I'll tell you that much. It's kind of creepy as shit too. Number 4 is Aladdin. Now, Aladdin is on here because it's still killing shit. Did you realize that Aladdin had a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes? A 56%. That means that more critics seen it and bombed it some more. Like, critics are really hating Aladdin because they feel like it's a weak story. But that's not why we like Aladdin. Aladdin has never been, the story of stories. But it's a great romance, and it's about classism. I always like stuff about classism. It's something that it could be a big problem amongst us. So a lot of times we mistake racism for classism. I like when movies get the balls to be able to explore stuff like this, and that's what Aladdin did. And this time they explored a little bit more themes. So I'm glad that the audience is loving it. The audience has got it at a 94, and I thank God for that, man, because Hollywood needs this type of stuff. You got Will Smith. You got Mena Massoud, who was a great Aladdin. I really liked him. I don't know what kind of actor he is. I love to see him in other stuff because I couldn't believe that they picked the right Aladdin. It's not an easy thing to cast for when you got somebody's face that's so iconic. I feel the same way about Ursula. It's going to be hard to cast her. Yeah, I really hope they get Melissa McCarthy, though. I mean, Disney got a real interesting format that they do with directors, man. They'll get a big-time director, but those directors, their biggest job is to get the fuck out the way. That's what Guy Ritchie did. They're still making money. They just crossed over the $900 million mark, and it's number 4 on the power rankings. Number 3 is Annabelle Comes Home. Now, I don't know, man. I thought that this thing would get panned. I thought this thing would get panned like Men in Black got panned, but it didn't. It's sitting at a 65%, which isn't good. It's kind of what it deserves. It isn't good, but at the same time, it does have kind of a value. So you got some people who are really into the horror genre. If you're a horror fan, this could really work for you because it's made by a great horror team. And I call them a horror team. It's directed by Gary Doberman, but he's just a writer, basically, and he got promoted to director. But when you see the producer credits, you see James Wan as a producer on here, like he always is in this universe. And I think that he has a lot of say over things. Now, again, I'm speculating here, but I think he has a say because you can see a lot of continuity through these different movies where the style is the same. With that being said, James Wan, he really knows what he's doing. He really know how to work up the scares. So if you're a horror fan, this will be good. This thing is making bank. This thing is making bank. When it's making bank, that means that the audience has only got it at a 71. But when it's making this kind of bank, that means that a lot of the audience is finding value in it. They're going and telling their friends. Because it's still making money in its third week. Not third week. Yeah, in its third week. So Annabelle Comes Home with the performances with McKenna Grace and Madison Iceman. I thought all the performances was cool. Katie Seraphy, she was good. I thought all the performances was cool. But this thing shines in its style. But story, you're not getting much story. But if you're not going for the story, Annabelle Come Home could work for you. And it's number 3 on the power rankings. Number 2 is Toy Story 4, mostly because it's still cleaning up. I really like Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 works because this is a lot like Annabelle Comes Home when I say that, you know how James Wan was kind of like the brain trust. Well, it's the same way with this with John Lasseter. John Lasseter wrote the first 2 Toy Stories, so he really knows what he's doing. He really cares about these characters, and you can kind of see him do the perfect send-off for these characters in this movie. But he's not the director. The director is Josh Cooley. Josh Cooley is a storyboard writer. It's not even his thing. So for him to make this, this great movie, with this great cast and be able to masterfully, direct these people. That alone is a feat in itself. This thing is still sitting at a 98% on both the critics and audience's side. That's because it's a great movie. Of course, the thing is making bank, made more than $500 million worldwide. I think it's about 546 or something like that. And it's a great movie. If you're waiting on it to come out on DVD or stream it or whatever, that's cool too. But if you're ever bored enough and it's time to go to the movies, again, Toy Story 4 is a good one. Number 1, of course, is Spider-Man Comes Home. Spider-Man Comes Home, the second installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a Spider-Man. Look, this is a really great movie. Some people would say that it's not, but when you consider that Marvel is really setting up the Marvel Universe for the next phase. Marvel Universe, for those who don't know, they set these things up in phases. They'll plan out, 10 movies, or not even 10, maybe like 8 movies, and they'll plan them out and they'll work them in phases as far as their story arcs. They'll have an overarching arc for that phase. So this is the end of that phase. A lot of people thought that it was Avengers. I always argue with people about Endgame because I really didn't think Endgame was that good. I say it all the time. But I talk about it all the time. They talk about how it's a great conclusion. It's a great conclusion to the story. Endgame wasn't the conclusion. Spider-Man is a much better conclusion to the phase. But with that being said, they set up other phases of it. I really like the next movie that they set up as far as Spider-Man. I really can't wait for it. Look, this is a movie that's complete. It's gonna make its dough. It just came out a few days ago. It just came out Tuesday. So I won't talk about too much of the numbers because they did a weird thing by releasing this on a Tuesday and extending the weekend. So I don't know how they're going to report those numbers. But sitting at a 92% with the critics, 100% with the audience. I mean, everybody is loving it. I think that actually came down. That might be like a 98% now. But, hey, Marvel and Sony is doing their thing. Everybody attached to this project is on fire. Watch all of these guys. Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jon Favreau, he directed the new Lion King. So you're going to be hearing his name more when that's coming out. Spider-Man Far From Home is in the perfect place. It got released at the perfect time. Hollywood severely needed a great movie, and it's the best movie of the summer, one of the best movies of the year, and it's number 1 on the power rankings. Really hoping things get stronger though. I'm really hoping things get stronger when it comes down to the movies. I don't know, man. I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous. I don't think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going to be good. I don't think Crawl is going to be good. Those are two major releases, man.